Okay, if I could have everyone's attention, it's 6 o'clock, it's time to get started. Certainly want to welcome everyone out to the August 9th, 2022 regular monthly school board meeting. Appreciate you being here. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Hadley to lead us in prayer. Mr. Lashley to lead us in pledge. Please stand.
Heavenly Father, we are so thankful, so grateful for all your blessings. Thank you, Lord, for the wonderful blessing of freedom that we have to conduct a school board meeting without fear. And Lord, I pray your blessings on each board member here tonight, and Jennifer, as we lead this board meeting, that we would have discernment from you, Lord, and guidance, that we would make the right decisions that would benefit our students and our children. Lord, that's what we're all about, is our students and their education. And I pray, Lord, that you would bless each board member with that wisdom here tonight. I pray for those that are grieving and for our troubled country, all these things, and I ask in Jesus' name, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you would, sign in, please. And I think Gail said the screen is not working. Is that correct? Okay, sign in, please.
Mine's still not working.
Can we just do a voice up?
Is everyone's not working?
No, mine's not.
It's showing on mine that everyone has voted.
Screen is
Sign
not.
in. Do you just wish to do a voice?
Yes.
vote? Okay.
Call the roll, Ms. Clerk.
Thank you. Burge,
Here.
Creedmoor, Fields, Heatherly,
Here.
James,
Here.
Lastly,
Here.
Lester, Miller,
Here.
Morgan,
Here.
Ryder. Here. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Parks. Next is recognition of guests. Brittany Surface. Brittany, here.
Yes, I'm here.
If you would, state your name for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Okay. My name is Brittany Surface. I have 2 children that attend Campbell Elementary School. One who plays elementary school basketball and one that's in 1st grade. My daughter has never had a normal school year due to COVID, and she's in 3rd grade. And I would like to thank you all for allowing me to speak before the board and convey my thoughts and concerns. I'm just gonna read what I have right down here. We are an underprivileged county, and school sports are often the only chance that these children have to play organized sports. Many people wonder why so many citizens leave Campbell County. It is likely because good things such as sports teams are often taken away from our kids or severely shortened and negatively impacted. This is why I would like to talk about lengthening our elementary basketball schedule. These kids work way too hard for their season to be shortened to only 6 games. Sports teach them hard work, accountability, dedication, teamwork, and dependability. The main activity offered for our children in this county is sports, so the last thing we need to do is shorten their basketball season, which impacts girls and boys basketball teams as well as school cheerleading teams. This is a lot of money and time to ask of many people for only 6 weeks. Normal basketball schedules have 10 to 12 games, and we in this community need to do better for these student athletes. So I wrote some positive things down here, and I'm just gonna read them. By not allowing these children to play a full schedule in elementary school or to gain proper fundamentals and competitive skills, they are at a disadvantage when playing at the next level or moving on to middle school teams. Our teams in Campbell County are less likely to be strong competitors with other schools in organized sports. Having elementary school basketball develops a foundation for these children, which eventually helps with your county middle school and high school teams. So I've got some statistics here. Participation in team sports results in higher GPA for both high school boy and girl athletes. Physically active children are 15% more likely to attend college. Former student athletes tend to earn significantly higher incomes than those who did not play school sports. According to a study that was using kids from kindergarten to 4th grade, physical activity is associated with improved academics, attitudes, and academic behavior. After-school physical activity programs would have a profound impact on reducing obesity, especially among children ages 6 to 12. Kids who play sports are nearly 10 times as likely to be active by adulthood compared to those who did not participate in sports as adolescents. Team sports help develop good sportsmanship, cooperation, and teamwork. Other qualities include inclusion, creativity, listening, social skills, and self-esteem is also taught. With participating in school sports, students learn to work together toward a common goal. Students learn to listen to one another in order to communicate and build positive relationships. Organized, well-structured youth sports and ongoing physical activities can provide many benefits for children. Positive experience that sports and an active lifestyle bring in an important role in a young person's life. I've listed quite a few things right here why I think we should do this for our children, so I'm just gonna read it. It provides a safe haven for some of these kids after school. It helps keep kids active to provide a healthy lifestyle. It provides interaction with educators outside of the classroom. Many athletes do better academically. Sports require memorization, repetition, and learning. These are all skill sets that are directly relevant to classwork. Encourages athletes to maintain good grades since this is a requirement. Sports boost self-esteem. Watching your hard work pay off and achieving your goals develops self-confidence. Learning something that engages and holds their interest. It teaches them how to set goals. It helps keep kids out of trouble. Sports are a great way to release stress and anxiety at a very young age. It gives children something to look forward to during the school week. It teaches discipline. It also brings the community together. School sports provide an opportunity for kids that cannot afford recreational or travel ball. Sports are very important for childhood development, and you can make new and lifelong friendships. I've heard from several individuals that having referees could be an issue. So I just put in here a solution possibly. I didn't know if we could offer that to high school students that need community service hours in the community. I've also heard that some of the leaders in the county don't want this to affect recreational ball. It doesn't conflict because it's on different days, and it's not offered on the same days, and my child will play both. I also coached a rec basketball team last year, and I loved it. If finding teachers or administrators to help with admissions and concessions for elementary basketball is a problem, can us as parents make a schedule and rotate through the concessions or admissions? Or again, offering this to students who need community service hours would be an option. As far as other counties go, I've talked to several people in Anderson County, and Andersonville and Clinton Elementary both have elementary basketball, and they even had 9 games last year during the COVID season. Elementary basketball was part of my life. I started, the program started when I was in 5th grade. And I have wonderful memories. I learned fundamentals and competitive skills, which helped me compete at the next level. I made friendships, some in which I still have to this day. I went into middle school basketball ready to compete, and it definitely provided me with more self-confidence. That's all I have concerning elementary basketball. I know Chris DeMont is going to follow me, because I know by pushing this season up has really conflicted with their Little League football, and it's requiring students to have 2 practices a week, and it's been hard for them. So I think we just all want a common goal to do better for our kids in this community. Not take anything away, just try to do better.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
I know you was pretty late.
I know you know who I am. Thank you.
Okay, I will say, the athletic committee did meet, and it was not necessarily no one's decision. It was a recommendation, when we met, and Mr. Lashley is the chairman of that committee. And we were given two options, and, option 1 and 2, which was basically start tryouts August 9th, the other one was September 6th through November 7th, which would probably conflict more with football. And, I mean, there's a lot of issues surrounding, and another thing is, you may not know, is Mr. Headley here, he can speak to this. We have a small division and a large division. And we have 4 on each side, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Which, if I understand it correctly, each, school plays each other twice
Yes, sir.
in the tournament. And,
That's based on enrollment in the schools, just like they have the middle schools, the high schools, makes for a more competitive and fair situation. If you have a school with 115 students playing against a school with a like enrollment. So that was one of the things we tried to do also.
and also, in the committee meeting, it was brought up about, you know, it conflicts with a lot of the school activities as far as the gym. I know at Jellicoe, they were running into problems with, I know Mr. Chapel's here, and he can attest to that, with volleyball, so. It's not an easy solution, which, you know, anybody else want to comment on it?
Mr. Chairman, before the COVID, you know, I don't remember us having no problems with elementary ball. I'm hearing all these concerns and problems. Elementary ball's been around for what, 20 years, 25 years?
It has, but it's changed, like I said, with,
What's changed?
well, the schedule's changed because you don't have Elk Valley playing Valley View, is that correct, Rod?
Yes, sir.
You don't have the smaller schools
We
playing.
did that because of COVID. We made that change because of COVID.
Well, we reduced the number of games because of COVID, but, again, I just, nope, coming from high school, middle school, down to elementary school, it makes for a more competitive and fair, league. And that's the reason we're doing that, or that's the reason we would like to do that.
And they don't play any games outside of the county, right?
No, sir.
Well, we've got 2 issues here. We've got one, you know, that's requesting to extend, and then we've got another group that's saying that basically it's the wrong start date, so if you extend the schedule, it's gonna cause more problems for them. And then, you know, it's just sort of a double-edged sword there, you know. What's your recommendation, Mr. Headley?
Well, we discussed it thoroughly in the meeting, and the reasons why we were trying to go the way we were. And the 2 biggest takeaways I had was to try to bring us in line with TMSAA. We didn't have any overlaps season-wise, we didn't have eligibility issues in our K-8 schools. And again, to make it a more competitive and fair situation for the smaller schools not having to go into a bad situation against the larger schools.
Right. Okay.
Middle school start their games, Robbie.
It would be in the month of October. They start practice, I think, the 1st of October.
Soon as football's over.
Yeah, that works. Actually, before, but, you know.
But you had mentioned about rec ball. School ball has never interfered with rec ball at all. You know, so that's really never been an issue. Okay, at
Have
this,
we polled the principals on this, Johnny?
well, we had most of the principals here at the meeting, and
You had 3 with me.
yes. Okay, at this time, we recognize Chris DeMont.
Howdy. How y'all doing? I know most of you. I spoke with you, played football for you, just met you. I'm Chris Watt. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Josh, played football with Josh. I've got a couple quick points here, and we can talk about it, and you can talk about it. So, we got 15 players, or cheerleaders, or both, that's gonna be severely impacted. That means that they're gonna have to either practice twice a day, or miss practice, quit one sport or the other, make a choice, or they're gonna have to play 2 games a week. Now this is, of the 3 big sports, this is football, baseball, and basketball. You're picking the 2 most physically challenging sports to combine the seasons with them. And it's gonna wear on them physically and mentally. Grades gonna suffer, health is gonna suffer, these kids are gonna suffer. And I just don't think it's fair. We wouldn't dare think about putting basketball season for the high schoolers and the middle schoolers in the middle of football season. I mean, that would never happen. We would never do that. And these are the same kids that's gonna grow up and play middle school and high school basketball here. And I just don't think it's fair just because they're younger to put them in a situation like that. So we got 15 players, and that's gonna affect over 100 kids overall. Because 15 players sounds like a little bit compared to over 100 and something with our little league cheerleaders and our football players. But if you have 15 of your athletes gone for my team, for instance, my quarterback, my center, and 2 tailbacks, and middle linebacker, not gonna be at practice. Or they're gonna have to go from one practice to the other. And after going to school all day, and then going to 2 practices, it's just a lot, personally. I know that we're not affiliated with the school, but it's the same kids, same age group, same sports. Nobody would dare put football and basketball together, regardless of age. Both of them are physically endurance sports. It's a lot to ask a kid to play 1 sport a year. And I've probably got mine in too much. I've got a high school cheerleader and 2 little league cheerleaders and a track runner in middle school and football player in elementary. So, I mean, all we do is run. So having them play 2 at once is unfathomable. I can't change football season. Football season's been football season ever since I know. I don't know any time it's not been played in the fall. But we have a chance here to postpone basketball season until we can figure out a better option. For one, I would like to see more competition and more variety in the schedule. I'd like to see us play the mountain schools. I don't think that we're any better than them just because we've got more numbers. I've seen the Bolins and Jellicoe dominate. So
They graduated.
thank God. I've done 7-on-7 camp with them. I remember seeing them dominate. I mean, so I think the talent is there. I think we should explore extending the season, and if we don't have to play a home and away with them. If we just play 1 game and it gets lopsided, it's just 1 game. I played in a lot of lopsided games. It's not always been easy to be a Cougar. So I'd like to extend the season for basketball as well. I've got 3 basketball players that played for La Follette, Vander, and the Twinkie, Starlin, Stella, little twins. And, Coach Tim Lamar bought a Vander a basketball goal as soon as he found out he didn't have one. And that kid's not missed a day on the basketball goal since he's made the team. So I'm not trying to get rid of elementary basketball season at all. I guess what I'm trying to do is try and have my cake and eat it too. I'd like to see them play basketball and football. But I'd like for basketball to be in basketball season like it traditionally has been forever. I know it's different age groups, but I think we should treat all of our kids the same. But that's all I got.
Thank you. Okay, it's my understanding that today was tryouts. Did that happen?
That given to the schools on the calendar for they to be first ed trials.
And like I say, there's no really easy answer. If you do push it in during basketball season, there's a lot of conflict there too with gym use. And, yes.
Can I say something? I'm sorry. We had tryouts in the spring for our elementary basketball, and we were told when we tried out that we would go back to a pre-COVID schedule. As far as I know, Caryville said that, I know Jacksboro said that, and I don't know about Travis Leach's team.
We had tryouts,
Valley
but I
View.
didn't know it was pre-COVID.
Valley View was told the same thing. We all said we were gonna go back to a pre-COVID schedule. I don't know where that information come from, but that's what the coaches have shared with us. So I don't know.
What did we do pre-COVID? How was the schedule?
What was the schedule pre-COVID?
We played, every team in the county played, each other, fifth district teams against the other 4 district teams, and again, we went much into middle school season, and all we did coming out of the committee was try to eliminate a lot of the problems from the past. Football, Little League football was always, our basketball was always had always interfered with Little League football. That's just, there's no good place to put it. If you put it in the spring,
Baseball.
you got baseball. If you put it,
Soccer.
Soccer's all year long.
I'm sorry?
Soccer's all year long now.
Yeah, it's twice a year. So, anybody else wanna stick with that?
Do we do, volleyball for the elementary kids too? Is that-
No.
We didn't?
No. Okay, thank you all. Moving on down to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. We have another special recognition at this time, this week.
For the last 18 years that I've been in the school system, Ms. Faye Heatherly has been a board member who has been actively involved in advocating for our community, for our students, for our teachers, for our support staff, in every aspect of the school system. She represents us well. She stays up to date on current trends in education, on new legislation coming in. She keeps us informed on that. She has been a friend to the education system in Campbell County, and she has given much of her time for that. And the reason tonight is such a special, it's a bittersweet night because it's special, but it's also brings some sadness with it because it's Ms. Faye's last school board meeting. After 18 years of serving her community, she decided not to seek re-election for the position. And Ms. Faye, we would just like to recognize you tonight by giving you this beautiful arrangement. I'm gonna come to you, if you would just stand up and accept it.
Now, I was going to cry.
Now, one thing that I want to say, you have held this position with class and with grace and with dignity. You brought respect to it. You brought such a level of professionalism to it. You're gonna be hard to replace. I see your replacement sitting in the audience tonight, and I have already spoken with him and told him he has some big shoes to fill because it was a seat with much respect. And I have one more thing I want to give you on behalf of the school board and staff. Now, those of you in the audience, this is not just a piece of glass. It does say 18 years of service, Faye Heatherly, 3rd District School Board member. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication throughout the years. You will be missed. Never underestimate the difference you make. And I love you dearly. You are wonderful. example of what we want our students to see, is how family sticks together and how a strong support group creates success, and you've had that. So I appreciate your daughters and your grandchildren and, just everyone that you have included and let us be a part of your family and share your life. So, thank you.
Very few times am I speechless, but this is one time that I am speechless because, I don't know what to say, other than it's been a good journey. It's been a blessing, it's been challenging, but I've had one focus, and that is for our students. And the next focus is for our teachers. No one knows the burden that our teachers have every day of their lives. And I do appreciate every support from anybody that I've had, and my family especially. And Jennifer, it's funny that you say that, because on my little notepad I said, thank you to my family. So they've driven me, they've pulled my luggage through the airports from Chicago to Denver to San Antonio, all over the places that when I served as president and president-elect, and I appreciate that. But I appreciate my board. You all are family to me. And when I started out in 2000, my husband was 2 years into his school board term, and he called me by his bedside when he saw that he couldn't get better. And he said, Val, I want you to promise me that you'll finish my 2 years out on the board. And I said, well, yes, I will. I didn't, in the back of my mind, know how I could do it with what I was already doing, but I did. And I served those first 2 years, and I realized what a difference that any dedicated school board member can make, and I never looked back. But one year I lost, one year I lost my election by 2 votes, and I had different people ask me to get a recount, and I said, no, recounts, because I prayed before the election, and I told God if it was His will that I deserved to be there, okay, and otherwise I wouldn't. So anyway, it's been 18 years of fulfillment in my life that I appreciate. And first time I went to Opryland to the first meeting, I went by myself, and I checked into the Opryland Hotel. It was at our state convention. And there I was in this huge big place, and I had all my luggage with me, and I thought, which direction do I go? And Johnny Burge and his 2 brothers stepped out of nowhere, and they carried my luggage to the room, and that was the beginning of board members helping each other. And Josh James has carried my purse and let me hang on to his arm, and let me hang on to his arm to walk up in graduation to present a diploma, and I appreciate everybody. I'm not going to cry because it's over. I'm trying not to cry, but this is overwhelming. I never expect anything like this, but I'm not going to cry because it's over. I'm going to smile and thank God because it happened. And it was through His blessings that it all happened. And I give Him honor and glory for everything that I am or have been or ever will be. And Jennifer, I love you to the moon and back, and for all the dedication that you've had for the children. It's been phenomenal, and it shows in these reports, in the grades of advancement and improvement. But thank you all. In the central office, what can I say about Jason and Pam and Donna and Lori and all of you all that have been so precious to me all through the years. And Miss Gail, I appreciate you so much, and I've just worried her and kept her busy all these 18 years. And today I called and asked her, gave her a request, and she answered back and said, well, Miss Queen, it will be my pleasure to do it for you. So it's been a wonderful journey, and thank you all. I will treasure these things forever. I'll be there for you, okay? And he's a Heatherly, so, don't expect, a few comments like some of the board members. He may be as talky as Faye, so, but thank you all so much.
As tiny as you are, we won't be able to see you if I don't have these flowers. So I'm
Okay.
gonna sit them back here until the meeting.
Thank you so.
And I would like to add, Ms. Fay, you are a perfect example of what a school board member should be. And I've enjoyed serving with you. We started at the same time. They added 5 positions when the year you were running, and she ran for Paul's 2-year seat. And guess who the first person I called when I decided to run for school board? Because I knew if I ran against her, she would beat me. So, but I appreciate everything. Definitely your dedication. Okay, moving on down to the consent agenda.
Mr. Byrd, I requested to your attorney to speak to this meeting.
I'm sorry, you have to go.
No, sir, it's my right, I can speak at this meeting.
The policy, board policy is that we,
The rights trump your policy, I'm sorry.
No, I'm-
This is an open meeting. And I
not since I've been here, I don't, what's your name?
Joshua Madsen.
Not since I've been here, Mr. Madison.
Well, I want to touch on why your principal's firm requested my son after he tried to get a restraining order and have me trespass off the property. Sir, I think I have a right to speak at this meeting.
I'm sorry, Mr. Madison, but the policy is that you have to apply 5 days prior to the board meeting, because none of these board members have anything from you stating that you want to speak.
I took it to your attorney.
You're no different than these people here that request.
I took my request to your attorney's office per Mrs. Fields' request.
I'm sorry. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move we approve?
See you
Thank-
in court, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Do I have a second? Second, from Ms. Ryder. Call the roll, please.
Burge,
Yes.
Heatherly, James,
Yes.
Lastly,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, moving on to the regular agenda. We're gonna strike 10A. Is that right, Kim?
That's correct, sir.
Striking 10A. What's the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, I move we approve the agenda as read item struck.
Thank you, Ms. Ryder. Do I hear a second? I have a second. Any questions or comments on the regular agenda? If not, call the roll.
Burge,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Lastly,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, next is comments from the chair. I have none at this time, and I'll move us on to the director's monthly report.
I would like to begin by saying congratulations to Crystal Creekmore, Ronnie Lasley, Jeffrey Miller, and Sharon Rodner, who retained their seats on the school board in last Thursday's election. I'd also like to say congratulations to incoming school board member Randy Heatherly, who won the 3rd district seat. And of course, sadly, we are saying goodbye to Ms. Fay. Tonight is her last school board meeting. And she did not run. I want to reiterate that she did not seek re-election, but she served 18 years well on the school board. Our reopening plans. Schools are reopening this year under normal conditions without social distancing. COVID leave is not being offered to employees, but students who are exhibiting COVID symptoms and are seen by the school nurse will still be placed in the separate waiting room like we had when we were actively enforcing COVID protocol. And contacts and guardians will be contacted. Pre-K and kindergarten are attending in staggered schedules to allow for student testing, and they will begin attending full-time August 24th. Our technology, Jellicoe High School phones and intercoms have been installed. They should be fully functional by the end of the week. We're troubleshooting a few issues. The internet has been added to the field house and the press box. Jacksboro Elementary School phones and intercoms have been installed. LMS is completed. Jacksboro Middle School cabling is wrapping up. We've added internet to the field house. Campbell County High School cabling is underway and expected to last for a few months, for the full installation of that. Due to last week's storms, a power surge disabled the intercom system at Jacksboro Middle School and LaFollette Elementary and Valley View. LaFollette Middle School is not working today, but will be repaired by tomorrow morning, and Jack Cannon is coming in to work with Sarah on checking the intercoms in the other locations tomorrow to get those working or to assess what we need to do, and we will proceed accordingly. Maintenance, all parking lot paving has been completed, and all roofing projects are completed at Wynn, Jellicoe High School, and Jellicoe Elementary School. Our enrollment, the numbers are fluctuating. They do not stabilize until mid-September. And in the purple packet that I handed you out, it has items to reflect some of this information that I'm talking about. It's items that were included on the annual agenda, the reopening plans, the enrollment. We also, Mr. Miller had requested some information on our enrollment numbers. And since yesterday was not an actual, it was just a registration day, some students who registered at one school may still be on a roster at another school, and until those records are requested and those students are removed, they will be double counted. So we do not have accurate numbers that will fluctuate daily. But I do want to encourage everyone to visit our district website. We have a new tab that is added on our district website. If you go to the About Us tab, you click on that, scroll down and click on the Enrollment tab. It will give you a daily update of our attendance number or our enrollment numbers, students transferring into our system or moving into our system, students transferring out. So it's broken down into a pie chart similar to the one that I had given you at a meeting we had last spring when we were talking about enrollment numbers. So you have access to that and you can check that daily. On our annual agenda for curriculum items and new courses, CCHS has added an AP Human Geography class, Sales Statistics, Agri-Science, Teaching as a Profession, and we're getting more teachers certified in the next summer training to teach AP classes. In our middle school curriculum, Entre Ed has been added for social studies at LaFollette Middle School. And in elementary, the third grade gate is something that we talked about that last year. It goes into effect this year, and you have a flyer about that in your packet. That is the third grade retention policy. Students who are not on grade level at the end of third grade will be retained. That is a new state law. And we're also, this is the year of our math adoption. Moving on to ACT data, our 2021-2022 average score was 17.2. This is 0.4 of a point higher than our 2020 and 2021 score. The analysis has already been released about that. College feedback. The state college going rate went down. Our college going rate went up at Campbell County High School and Jellicoe High School both. You have a Gear Up report reflecting that information and describing that on each high school. So
Does that include vocational?
Yes.
Also, if they?
Yes, yes. TCAT, community college, and four-year college or university. And also included in your packet is the current volunteer coach list. And as always, those are subject to change based on, the timeline of the sports and if they add anyone closer to the time of the sport. And our volunteer coaches have completed their background checks, their drug test, and that list is included in your folder. So that's all I have in my monthly report. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Jennifer, I just am wondering how close we are to having a full slate of our teachers in place for the year.
Well, Ms. Fay, that fluctuates as well. We've had some resign within a week of accepting their position because of gas prices. If they get a job closer to where they live, they are, taking that job. But as of right now, our certified positions, we have 4 that are unfilled. We do still have some classified positions. Mandy, am I correct in saying that? Is that, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions for Ms. Fields? Okay, moving on to legislative report, Ms. Evans.
Okay, we had summer law in Gatlinburg in July, and we had, most of our board attended that, and we had an update on all of the policies and the laws that have been brought about, and some added, some changed. And because of that, it created a need for policies for our board, and we had policy meetings. Sharon has kept up with all of that, and some of the policies that we've been voting on are due to those changes because of the bills. And then the new, the Tennessee Investment of Student Achievement Act. I called Ben Torres in Nashville today and asked him for an update on any legislation from our summer law till now. And he said that this particular funding act that they've been discussing, all of the discussions are closed. They closed on August the 2nd, and now they're just waiting to see the results. And Jennifer, you may want to speak to what that is, and it will mean more funding to schools.
The season?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, we talked about that. That is not based on our enrollment like the DEP formula was. That is based on 10 different unique identifiers for students, and our attendance is checked, our enrollment is checked monthly. We have to keep very accurate records because that will fluctuate. It does appear to be much higher than what, as in $7 million more than what we normally receive, but that can also be deceptive because in the past, the voluntary pre-K grant that we apply for, the coordinated school health grant that we apply for, and our school safety grant that we apply for and are awarded into the millions of dollars, that is now included. That is part of that money. So even though, we still will see a significant increase, but not to the full $7 million that we originally thought. We didn't know that included the grant. But as we know, and of course we track that monthly, the same as with our BEP, we tried to keep you informed to know whether we were going to be facing a budget shortfall, and if we were, what would be the magnitude of that. And since this is a new funding formula, and we're learning about it as we go, and the accuracy of that information, I don't know how much access we'll have to that early on, but I will keep you up to date on that as well as I possibly can.
Will that formula be fluid, is the funding will change monthly depending on how we
Yes.
make things different, so it's not?
Yes, it's based on how many students we have in special education, how many we have identified as homeless. So when student situations change, that is subject to change as well.
And that's all I have, Johnny. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee. Next is recognized finance, Ms. Karen.
Good evening. Item A is the monthly financials, and we don't have any at this time. We're in the middle of the year-end process, so we should have those next month. Item B is approve the budget amendments and resolutions, and in your packet, you will find budget amendments 8-1 through 8-8.
Okay, you have those in your packet, and Director of Schools has reviewed the amendments described, and take them all together, 8-1 through 8-8, is that right, Karen?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's the pleasure of the board.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Lashley. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Headley. Any questions on the budget amendments, resolution? Call the roll.
Burge,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item C, reviewing the bids, there is nothing at this time. Item D, request permission to advertise bids, there is nothing else for this, at this time. And item E, to request permission to accept renewal contracts, and there's nothing at this time. That's all I have.
All right, any questions for Karen? All righty, moving on for items for action. Consider approving the Campbell County Board of Education support of staff members resolution. Okay.
The last couple of meetings, we've addressed and acknowledged the, thank you for the acknowledgement you gave me in the resolution that you presented me with, but we also presented that to the teachers. And we do not ever want to overlook our support staff, because our teaching assistants, our bus drivers, our cooks, our maintenance employees, our custodians, our secretaries, our clerical staff, everyone in the system. It takes everyone working together as a team to make things successful. And I just want to read a resolution on behalf of Campbell County Board of Education to the support staff of support of staff members resolution. Whereas an excellent public education system is vital to both the quality of life and the economic prosperity of Campbell County. And whereas it is essential to have intelligent, nurturing staff members committed to the mission of preparing students for a life of scholarship, integrity, and service. And whereas staff members play an integral role in educating the children of Campbell County inside and outside of the classroom by supporting our students on a daily basis while taking on a number of essential roles within the district. And whereas the dedication displayed by staff members show their desire and commitment to helping create engaging, safe environments that prioritize critical thinking, problem solving, and meaningful interpersonal relationships. And whereas many staff members take on the responsibility of providing additional support to those students that are the most in need while providing a positive impact. And whereas Campbell County School District would not be recognized for rigorous educational opportunities that facilitate exceptional student achievement without the efforts of all staff members within the district. And now therefore be it resolved that the Campbell County Board of Education does formally offer this statement of support and appreciation for the dedicated staff members who work tirelessly to make the Campbell County School District one of the best in the state of Tennessee by providing exemplary instruction, support, and related services to the students in our district.
Thank you, Ms. Steels. You heard the resolution. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do I have a second? Any comments? Call the roll.
Burge,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, moving on to item B. Consider hiring an architect for expansion of Jacksonville Elementary School gymnasium and cafeteria with options. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. James. Thank you, Mr. Laston. Any questions? Call the roll.
Burge,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Moving on to item C. Consider approving fresh fruit and vegetable program. You have the attachment in your packet. What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve fresh fruits and vegetable program.
Thank you, Ms. Ryder. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Headley. Any questions? Call the roll.
Birch,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Lastly,
Yes.
Lester, I'm sorry, Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Rodner.
Yes.
Okay, item D is consider approving health, dental memorandum of understanding. You also have that in your packet. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Do I hear a second? Thank you, Ms. Ryder. Any questions? Call the roll.
Birch,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Lastly,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Rodner.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item B, consider approving environmental services with Microbac or Lynn's Elementary School. You also have that attachment. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I again move we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Do I hear a second? Thank you, Mr. Lashley. Any questions? Call the roll.
Birch,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Lastly,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Rodner.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, item F is consider approving Campbell County Elementary basketball rules for the 22-23 school year. You also have that attachment. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve. That is recommended by the committee, correct? That's recommended by the committee. These rules for basketball?
Yes.
Yeah, I move we approve.
I hear a second.
I second the motion.
Is
Thank
that
you,
for
Ms.
rules and schedule?
I'm sorry,
Is that rules and schedule?
that was gonna be my question.
It has the date, start date, finish date determined on the rules.
So is that what we're
Okay.
going with?
Here is the situation with, based on what's been brought before the board tonight. It's my understanding out of the committee, the principals, Commissioner Heatherly, this is what's recommended. You were given two options. Okay. If you approve this tonight, then it would start at that date. I mean, what's the feel of the board on, I mean, it's,
Kind of dang if you do, dang if you don't, don't you?
Well, I would just say, sports has always been important to me, I'm a big supporter of sports. I just, honestly, and I'm feeling what you guys are feeling, and there's nothing that replaces that for kids and what it teaches. I just don't know that we can meet everybody's request. You know, we got one request to extend the season, one to move it back. So, but anyway, that's my motion, is we approve as recommended, that's my thoughts.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask, Mr. Heatherly, Robbie, if you, approve this and you certainly,
We spoke of this for an hour at the athletic committee. At that time, everyone, sitting on the board for approval. So we talked it through quite thoroughly.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, how do you feel that? You're the leader of the system, how do you feel that?
Well, I, of course, support the opinion of the committee. That's the purpose of the committees, is to gather all our facts. And I know Mr. Heatherly also talked to different school systems. And, you know, some have their games on weekends. You know, we're in a situation we can't require our employees to work weekends. You know, and I'm certainly all for giving students every opportunity possible to be involved in as many activities as possible. You know, I have 3 children, 2 who have gone through the school system, and they've been involved in sports from elementary school on. I currently have a daughter who participates in 2 sports at this time, and they overlap. She is in golf season and practicing for football season, and it will continue to run late into the fall. So I understand, and we did competitive cheer at the same time. So, there comes a point when you have to make your choice. How involved do you want your children to be? Because I want to give everybody an opportunity, but at the same time, saying we're doing kids a disservice with shortening elementary sports from 10 games to 6 games. You still have to consider when you have an elementary school with 600 students, but you only have 10 kids on a basketball team, you're really not giving every student an opportunity to play sports. Not everybody makes the team. So you're limited there. And then when you go into a situation, and I've experienced this as well, when basketball season in elementary school runs into several games and into a later season, we have parents, single parents, and sometimes grandparents who have children at the elementary school, the middle school, and even at the high school level, and they're trying to get 2 kids to 2 different locations, and there's only one of them, and that's a complaint as well. So it's a lot like Mr. James said, there's no one decision that we're going to make that is going to make everybody happy, unfortunately.
Is there any way that we might play 2 games a week for 2 different weeks?
I mean, that's up to the committee, whatever you decide. If you all want to take this back to the committee and look into that.
I would suggest that we approve what we've got here, because that takes us through takes us through fall break. If we looked at it and took the games into fall break, did 2 games that week instead of running the tournament, we can come back after fall break and see a couple more games in, and then do our tournament still lead to the school's season down. So, I think
But that gets in more to what the one, Mr. DeMott, that's what, I agree 100%. I'm not gonna play 20 games if they do. I mean, but that affects him more on what he was saying. If we did that.
do that for 2 different weeks, that gets us almost to the point where we have to get games and then do the tournament.
So to answer Mr. Miller's question, of course, we all want to find the answer that's going to make everyone happy. But my stance on it is I would like to find a happy medium somewhere.
That's what I want to do. I think to prove what we've got right now, that gives us time to come back to another committee meeting around Monday and see what we can find down then that will extend us. I think because we've got the schedule set for that. And if we come back and look and see how we can put the other games in, it should be doable.
Would you amend your motion to add that, who made the motion?
I did.
Mr. Morgan, would you amend your motion to do that, Mr. Morgan?
Yeah, that's pretty what I'm doing.
Mr.
We're
Chair.
gonna meet about the possibility of extending the season.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would think that probably the best route to go would be to take it back to committee to see what options are viable before the decision is made. But we'd have to do that as soon as possible.
Well, the season starts.
I'm in agreement though with Mr. Haley. I don't think that the smaller schools need to play the large.
See, like Mr. Miller said, we've never been faced with this before, and so I don't.
It's the reason I said, let's get what we've got tonight, if it takes us.
Right. Yeah, because we gotta basically continue to go on with what we're
Well,
doing.
Mr. Burge, may I point out that if you approve that tonight, that actually, our season is over in September. So that will be it. There will be no addition after September into fall break.
No, that's what he's saying, we add to after fall break before the tournament. Is that
Correct, but to my understanding, if you approve now, then we're set with those games and it ends at what you all have projected. Is that
No,
correct?
he's requesting a committee meeting to extend. So,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you for that.
motion.
Very well. One last thing, Chris, and we're gonna vote.
So if we approve now, we're gonna do both seasons at the same time? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes,
So
that's what.
2 practices a day and 2 games a week? Is what you're suggesting?
Is that what they're practice 2 days?
No, I mean, they'll practice football the same day and then basketball the same day and then play a basketball game and then come to football practice and then play
I mean,
basketball.
if you kick it forward, you got the same problem with baseball and everything else, Chris.
But this is football and basketball at the same time. Why would you I mean, we wouldn't do that to the high school kids or the middle school kids. And it's the same children.
I would just say football is not a school function. What you do with
It's the same-
football.
it's the
that's
same
up to
kids.
you. I like
It's the
it.
same kids, it's the same sport.
Well, we can't make rules for the football. You know, we can't make everybody happy. I'm sorry. I wish we could. But that's my motion, and I have a second.
All righty, any more questions? Call the roll, please.
Bird,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James,
This is being voted to send it back to committee, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
So just from my understanding, will basketball schedule continue as scheduled?
Well, I mean, tryouts started today, Chris. I mean-
We had tryouts in spring for fall.
Okay, moving
There's
on.
no tryouts today. So is that correct? That's what my question is. So we will play both sports at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Item G is consider approving, revising Campbell County Board of Education policies on the second reading. You have those, we voted the first reading last month. And you have those in your packet. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve all 20 policies.
All right. Have a motion by Mr. Ryder, do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Hester. Any questions? Call the roll.
Bird,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ryder.
Yes.
Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, moving on to 10A, discuss gymnasium, that's been deleted. Discuss legal matters.
There's none this time.
Thank you very much. Recognize school board member. Corey.
Well, I'd like to say I almost never had nothing to say. But, we will miss you, thank you, and you've been a mentor to me, prodded me when I needed prodding. And it's gonna be kind of sad without you. No offense, man, but we will miss you. Hope you still come around.
Bill.
Just want to say thanks to all my supporters for giving me another 4 years. It was a long, hard summer, but the results are what I wanted. And in this elementary ball, you know, I just feel like if, you know, with tryouts being in the spring, the meeting wasn't until 3 weeks before the start of the season. I mean,
I don't understand what you mean.
if you're gonna have a meeting to establish the rules, why would they done it early? Why just 3 weeks before the meeting?
Well, that's left to me, but I don't.
I mean,
What?
it's a lot of, you know, changes put on people right at the last minute.
A lot of people, a lot of teams choosing the players at the end of these school years so that they can have them going when they come back to school. That doesn't necessarily mean that we've had the final rules set for that time.
I mean, I just feel, again, back to committee work, we discussed this, Chair. You know, we have to make it in do committee work a lot greater around here. I've had many that I haven't even had a quorum, and, just moving forward, hope we can work better on that and work better for the people and make a clear understanding of what's going on. On another matter, you know, during this long campaign, I talked to hundreds of people. And, you know, I get feedback that there's some people afraid to speak to me because I'm a board member that are in the system. And that just mind boggles me that I have people in the school system that will not reach out to me because they're afraid they're gonna get in trouble
With who?
with the director of schools.
I don't have that problem.
Well, I do.
I don't know it is.
And I think it's, you know, me. I hope that's not the case. I mean, everybody ought to feel free to be able to talk to me or anyone without any fear. I mean, we're here elected by the people and we've got to hear their voice and they're part of it. And I have heard that all summer long.
Well, I think it's strange that you would pick a public board meeting to bring that out in the open instead of coming to me.
Well, listen,
I think that's unfair too, Jerry. You know, I'm your brother, but
I'm just telling you, that's what was on the people's mind, and I've heard that, and, you know, I'm gonna stand with what I just said. I hope that's not going on. You're telling me it's not going on, so we'll go forward. But people don't need to be fearful of walking up to get a store.
With that same token, people and teachers in schools shouldn't be fearful because a board member is in the school all the time. And I hear that equally.
I go to Valley View to support my people at functions. That's what I do.
Well, I'm just telling you, I hear things too, and, out of courtesy, I don't step on your toes as a board member. If you want to stay at Valley View every day, I'll let you do that, but, you know, you make some people feel uneasy by being in the building, so.
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Lassie?
Could I ask Ms. Gale to go ahead and schedule me an athletic committee meeting for Monday? That way I won't have to call you. Would like to thank my constituents in the 4th District for my complimentary vote I ran unopposed. But I was still very pleased with the vote turnout I got. That was pretty good. And I'd like to say, Ms. Fay, I love you.
I love you too, honey.
And I'll be a long time, appreciate serving with you.
Well, I could not let this last opportunity go by without saying something. You all would have a heart attack and we wouldn't have a board, so. I do want to thank you, Jennifer, for your strong leadership. Johnny, you have been an absolute phenomenal chairperson, and I appreciate that so much. To every one of our board members, I thank you for your service. I thank you for the dedication. And while I'm leaving the board, I want to encourage you all to stay true to your training. The training is so important, because it develops who we are and establishes what we need to be doing. And without training, we're not the school board members that we possibly could be. We can be school board members, but you can be excellent school board members with training. Our board members, I do want to say this, most of them are working on their boardsmanship credits, and I appreciate that. And I will be available for anybody that needs help.
who's gonna keep up with me? What will I do?
Well, you can call me.
Okay.
You got my number, okay? But thank you again. Thank you to our central office and our news media. Thank you so much, Boomer and Eva, and I'm not sure what your name is, but you're there every month. So thank you so much for helping us be transparent, and you report to the community what goes on in our school board meetings, and that's important, and I appreciate it. And I won't ramble on and on, but thank you all for being so good and so kind to me tonight. And, I'm not gonna cry, I promise I'm not gonna cry. You
Thank you. Ms. Sherman?
I want to thank my supporters also. Mr. Rutherford and I think had a good race, and I appreciate him running against me, but I'm glad I won. So I have 6 years under my belt and hopefully 4 more, so, and I appreciate the support of everyone. Also, Ms. Fay, we're gonna miss you.
Thank you,
You're the
Shannon.
one that's keeps leading our group and keeping us in line, so, you're gonna have to check on us, make sure we're still doing okay. And Ms. Surface, I appreciate your research and
Thank
your
you.
time that you put in to make sure that you represented the board to us tonight and your thoughts, and we appreciate them, we want to hear from you.
Thank you for
And
listening.
also, the other gentleman too, so I appreciate your doing the proper way, and, we need that to make sure we make the right decisions on what we do.
Thank you.
You will.
Mr. James?
Just obviously congratulations to the 5 board members, the 4 obviously that won, and then Randy, for coming on. But Faye, I am gonna miss you. I love you to death. I'm gonna still continue to text. I'm still gonna continue to send pictures of the boys.
I expect that.
But I am definitely gonna miss you. And, I'm gonna make one comment about the whole elementary basketball, because it is such a heated subject every single year. And my thoughts on elementary basketball is, one thing, is that the Board of Education does this for the children. We do it for the students. We get so wrapped up in parents and coaches and everything around the game other than the students. And I just hope that we can obviously come to some conclusion that will help try to make, one party happy. But again, I vote for elementary basketball because of the students. It's for those kids to have fun and represent their schools and learn a little bit about the game, but mostly have fun. And so I hope that everyone, can understand that.
Thank you, Mr. James, and I certainly want to congratulate Jeffrey and Sharon on the win. And Brandon, welcome aboard. Congratulations. Hold on just a second. Welcome aboard, look forward to working with you. You ran a good race, you and Tony, very proud of both of you. And I told you when you started, the problem you had, everybody liked both of you. That's the way that everybody's seen that in that election. And Ronnie, congratulations also to you. And Ms. Creekmore is not here. Congratulate her. And Mr. Chandler, our principal at Jellicoe, we appreciate you being here. And congratulations to you. He was elected to his 3rd or 4th term on the commission, 3rd term on the commission in Scott County. So congratulations to you. Mr. Kitts, it's certainly an honor to have you here. Would you like to say something to the board quickly?
Well, I just want to talk real quick about safety.
Oh, yeah.
Audience, appreciate you all, Chairman Burge, Director Fields, school board members. Real quick, I will make it quickly. I sometimes get a little bit long-winded, but I'll make it quick. School safety has been my main thing through this whole year. We've got to come together. We've got a new sheriff in town. He's probably one of the best SRO officers that knows about it. So I want to try to get him on board, as well as the Board of Education, as well as the County Commission. And one of the things that I would love to see is it's all across the country about and I know the schools are locked down, I know that, I realize that. And most of the time, we take things for granted, Ms. Fields, when somebody's coming in, oh, we know this guy, you just let them, in, through, so how know that? But we never know when somebody's gonna come in that school that, sometimes we take things for granted. So my theory is simple. If we can get everybody on board, the County Commission, Board of Education, Mr. Barton on board, since he's got the experience, okay? So what I'd like to see here is everybody come together, band together, and maybe, you guys have got a safety committee. If you guys would be interested in entertaining, a bunch of everybody getting together.
Joint meeting?
I'd like to have a joint meeting, and I think we need to take, what my goal is here, what I'm seeing all across the country, I do a lot of researching, and a lot of you folks probably know this too. They're having this when people go into these schools, these nice schools, we've got great schools here too, but we're talking about the wand, when they come in, you know, the tech metal, you know, we need to look at this kind of stuff, okay? Because we never know when it'll happen in our backyard here. So now my theory is.
It already has.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. So my theory is there's no wands in none of these schools. I've got 3 schools in my district. LaFollette Junior High, LaFollette Middle School, and the alternative school. So you know, and I love my second district, I love my county. I want to see everybody band together. I mean, you know, so anyway, that being said, Miss Faye Heatherly, congratulations to your retirement.
Thank you.
I've known you since I was a young boy when I worked at Woodson's. I loaded you and Paul's groceries up back in the day. You are, to concur what Mr. Burgess, Chairman Burgess said, you are a good example of what a school board member should be. And you know what? Your retirement is very well deserved. That being said, thank you for giving me an opportunity, and I'm going to continue fighting hard as a county commissioner, and I want to continue hard to working with the Board of Education and doing whatever I can to protect these children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kitts, and,
Now, Mr.
okay, Jeffrey, I'm sorry.
Echoing on Scotty, can you reach out to Member Fields and ask her to schedule a safety meeting?
I will.
In the near, Mr. Barton reached out to me and he's eager to get started.
I will. We have made vast improvements in school safety, and you can never do enough, but Ms. Fields has definitely added a lot to her safety, and I appreciate her staff. And that's all I have. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Ms. Headley done that.